Now, I'm here in Donegal at the moment and I'm actually recording this, putting it up online from my hotel room. I have been to visit the fort of my ancestors. This is the Grannion Aileach, or the Grannion of Aileach, and it is one of the most ancient structures here in the northwest of Ireland. And it was actually identified by Ptolemy, the cartographer, who at one point worked for the ancient Egyptians, and he drew up a map of the known world. And on this map of the known world, he placed Hibernia, which was the old name for Ireland, and this Grannion of Aileach was actually noted on the map. So that's how long this hilltop fort has been in existence. Of course, much longer, but we go back into mythology at that point. This was the fort of the O'Neills, or the O'Neills, and it was thought to have been built in the 6th or 7th century. All right, that's just a thought. The following video that I have made today is absolutely saturated with wind effects because it was so stormy, and I can tell you, it was actually a terrifying experience for me to go into this fort and climb up onto the ramparts. Absolutely terrifying. I thought I was going to be blown over the ramparts. So, sorry about the wind effects, but this is a real video in real time, and I don't think I should talk over it. Whatever you can hear from my voice, well, there we go. Here it is. To visit the great fort of my ancestors, the tribe of Kilmorgan, which of course is the O'Neills. Let's go. This is the Grannion Aileach, commanding perhaps the finest view across Ireland, northwest Ireland. The air is very cold and brisk. So this incredible fort was actually drawn onto one of the very first maps of Ireland by the famous cartographer Ptolemy. Now, Ptolemy was famous for drawing up some of the very earliest maps of the known world. I think his ancestry was Greek, but he worked at one point, or was certainly incorporated into the fabric of the life of the ancient Egyptians. So he would have worked, I think, for some of the pharaohs. But when he drew up the map of Ireland, or Hibernia, as it was known then, he included the Grannion Aileach, the fort of the O'Neills. So it was known of in the ancient world. And no wonder they built a fort here. That's an incredible lintel stone. And in fact, there's a series of lintel stones going all the way through the entrance. Wow. This is otherworldly, to say the least. Otherworldly. Now I'm going to take you up those steps over there, and we're going to climb up to the very top of the Gran Aileach, the fort of the O'Neills. These steps are all made from stone. The entire fort is made from stone. I'm having to lean into the actual wall here to get up. It's very windy, and I certainly don't want to be falling off these steps. So I'm a little bit a little bit of trepidation is upon me here. Now, oh my word. Okay, I'm on the top piece of the fort. It's too windy to stand up. I'm frightened of getting blown over the edge of it. It's a mighty monument. Oh my word. I've chosen a right opportunity to come up here. The wind is blowing fiercely. I think I'm going to make it to step now. I don't think I've ever been that terrified, absolutely terrified, trying to come down from the top up there, because this particular spot has got to be the windiest spot in the world, and there's such a wind blowing today. Now normally I've been described as a brave and bold woman, but if you were to give me 100,000 euros, I wouldn't be climbing up to the top of that again. Not today anyway. This is amazing. The energy, whether it's the wind, partially due to the wind, but also I think because of the energy that the fact that this is a round fort, a round stone-built fort holds. The energy is, oh my word, alive. This is not a place of enchantment. This is a place of fury. There is a fury about it, which is terrifying. Oh gosh, the only respite is under the lintels here. Do you know, it's really strange because the wind has calmed down. So I'm going to walk all the way around the fort. It's up again. Have Loch Swilly, and Loch Swilly was where the Earls sailed from at the Flight of the Earls in the 16th century. The Earls of Tyrone, Tyrconnell, all the O'Neill ancestors, and the O'Donnells, the O'Neills and the O'Donnells sailed from Loch Swilly. And Loch Swilly is a sea loch, and you can see it's going all the way around there. Massive. Now there's some stories I could tell you about that. and in the due course of time I will. My brother Hugh O'Neill has done a lot of research on the details. The details are fascinating because there is a timeline where the Earls fled their castles in Antrim and Tyrone and headed up towards Lough Swilly, where the great boats were waiting. And the timeline of their journey does not fit. And that's the story that I'll be telling you about at a later date. And leads us on to yet another story. It's got very quiet now. It's very quiet. I think I'll go back inside and see what the energy is like now. Now that I've walked the circuit. There is an actual fort within the walls. So, as to the age, well, because of the prominent placement, the fort itself is at least 1,000 years old. But of course there was buildings and stones in whatever shape or form up on this hill and going right back into the mists of time. There is an incredible energy within these walls. That's all I can say. And there's Lough Swilly. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to pick some of the heather that's growing around the Gran Aileach. This heather would have grown here since time immemorial, the heather covered mountains. So I'm going to pick some and dry it. And for those of you who order a book over the next wee while, I will enclose a little bit of this heather from the Gran Aileach here on the Inishowen Peninsula in the northwest of Donegal. It's tough stuff. Look at that. Beautiful. Bealtaine Cottage and the work I do across social media by buying any one of my books. That's the first one, A Cottage in 3 Acres. That tells the story of how Bealtaine Cottage came into being. There are books, maps, a calendar printed each year and bumper stickers, and the link to purchasing any of these can be found below every video. All are printed here in Ireland in my local town, and all are posted from Ireland in my local post office.